What up, though? This is your boy Mike D, host of Wrestling from the 313. It is good to be back with another episode. It's been a long time. And my guest today, he's been on the show. This is his second time. He's actually in a four-way tie with Professor Bear, JD from Mayhem Media, and your boy Crander Q. Y'all in a four-way tie for most appearances on Wrestling from the 313. My guy, Joe Monroe, represent Kentucky. What up, though, man?
Not much, man. I mean, I got to represent,
And
the
he got the wrestling
313.
from the 313 hoodie, and I got the t-shirt on. So hey, we are repping the 313. What's been up, man? How's everything been?
Dude, everything's been freaking hectic lately. Last time we talked, I was a part of Mayhem, but I'm no longer a part of them. I kind of went solo.
Okay.
Then the wrestling company I was working for, we kind of parted ways too.
Oh,
Yeah, well, it was on good terms on both.
okay.
But we we was like, well, what are we going to do next? I mean, my team was, and I said, you know what, let's just roll with what we have always wanted to roll with.
Yeah.
Uh, so the thing that kind of bugged me a little bit is supporting just one promotion. I'm
Yeah.
like, that's not what I wanted to create this show for. I wanted to create it for everybody. We'll let
Right.
this be a safe space. Even if I had like personal problems with the company in the past, I'm willing to squash all that and let's just shut up and enjoy wrestling. Which I'll get to how I came up with that in a minute. Uh,
hey, hey, I see you've been on social media. You've been campaigning that, but I totally agree with you because people just be tripping about wrestling for absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and believe it or not, it was with all I watched All In. That's the first AEW pay-per-view I watched, and I thought it was pretty decent. It was pretty good pay-per-view. Then I
Yeah.
see people, just trashing it, and I'm like, hold up, no, 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 no. I was like, that pay-per-view, I get it. You guys are probably saying it sucks just because the names on it, but let's be
Yeah.
honest, that's probably one of the better wrestling pay-per-views of the year. And there was something else about Dominic Mysterio with having his La Parka theme gear.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw it. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm just like, Don does a lot of stuff that honors Lucha Libre and honors, something that's personal to him.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so I'm just like, what you people do it all the time in wrestling. I mean, I
Yeah.
see guys do it. Hell, I even do it. But people just need to shut up and just enjoy it. I'd tell people all the time, if people would just shut up and just relax and enjoy wrestling like they
Yeah.
used to,
Yeah.
pro wrestling would be God hotter than what it is, I believe.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people are, our good mutual friend Professor Bear. He was behind it 100% when I told him. I said, Bear, do you think people's going to be offended? He said, if they do, they're morons. or, oh
Right.
no, oh no, if they do, they're stupid. That's what he said. Uh, and he was like, go for it. And that's when I actually got my own storefront now. And
Okay.
I even made a shirt that says "Shut up and enjoy professional wrestling."
Oh yeah. Right.
So,
Yep.
shameless plug. If you want to support that, go to my website. It's thejoemonroeshow.com. And you know what? If you want something like this is very comfortable. I know this is we're filming this in September, but I am very comfortable in this. Wrestling from the 313 shop, Mike D, great stuff. You can also get this and that T-shirt still, right, Mike?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Most definitely. Yeah. And oh yeah, I gotta throw in Wrestle City Apparel. Wrestle City Apparel. Um, I have the website link down in the description when this video comes out. But yeah, we want just trying to create something so everybody can enjoy wrestling in their city. Whether it's WWE, AEW, independent wrestling, just rep your city and celebrate wrestling. And that's what it's all about. Like you said, just shut up and watch wrestling.
Just shut up and enjoy it. I think that's why you, Crander, and Bear get along so well. We just enjoy wrestling so much. We don't pay
Yeah,
attention to many of the trolls.
and then and you know that a lot of the stuff that goes on is storyline.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's just like, why? I mean, and you're gonna have your moments where when stuff happens, you're gonna be upset or you're gonna be kind of shocked. But the levels that people take it to is just ridiculous. Like I say the WWE AEW debate is almost as bad as the Michael Jordan LeBron James debate. You know what I'm saying? It is like seriously. Like you see on the internet, people are taking pictures of arenas when people are coming in, and then they posting it saying, "Oh yeah, they didn't have a big crowd." Like, come on, man.
Yeah,
I just sat up here and watched SummerSlam, and that whole arena, that whole stadium was sold out, and you gonna take a picture while they doing the pre-show? Like,
yeah,
come on.
I got a picture somebody posted on WrestleMania 3. They didn't sell out, and there was maybe, I don't even think it was half a row. Maybe there was like 2 or 3 seats empty. I'm just like, you never know, dude. They may have went to the bathroom. I mean, I
Yeah,
went to summer. You've been to live shows for WWE. I've been as well. You know you're not going to sit there the whole entire freaking time.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
but but yeah, man. Like I look at wrestling from a fan and wrestler's perspective. Which last time we talked, you guys, not many people knew I wrestled for a while.
yeah,
Uh, but yeah, I look at it from both points of view, and I kind of mix it. And I think one of the promoters, he's still good friends with me, even though we parted ways business wise. He goes, that's why I think the round table and the history and stuff. He goes, that's why I think it's so genuine because you're looking at it from both sides and you can give input on both sides.
yep,
Um, but yeah, man, like everything with the Joe Monroe show. I mean, we're almost at 1,000 on Facebook. YouTube, we're actually, believe it or not, at 182. I know that's nothing to sneeze about, especially with you, Mister. I'm going to grow on YouTube really quick. Uh, but hey, I still appreciate that. I never thought I'd get more than 15 when I first started. So there we
yeah.
go.
I,
but
I I thought it was gonna take me forever to get 100 subscribers, and I did that. I think maybe in like a day.
yeah, so you're shooting up big time with followers, dude. I'm or subscribers. I'm proud of you on that.
I
Uh,
appreciate it. Thank you. Thank
But
you.
but yeah, man, like that's what I want to come on here. Like, and another thing, people are asking. I put a video out. Uh, why am I working with other podcasts? It's like, well, we're all fans, or
Yeah,
marks, if you want to put it that way. We've even with me, wrestling. I was still a wrestling mark, and I think that's what like me, you, Crander, Professor Bear, the guys from Till Five Wrestling. Big shout out to them. Even though Notorious ATB is an idiot, uh, big shout out to those guys. Uh, I think that's why we all kind of get along so well. We gel well together because we genuinely love professional wrestling,
yeah,
and that's why I hate when people try to pivot, even not only just wrestling shows, but like podcasts and shows and like independent showrunners like this.
yeah,
They're just like, well, I like this because of this. It's like, well, okay, cool. Well, that's my friend. Go support them. That's awesome. I'm not going
yeah.
to be jealous of that.
Right.
And people looked at me, man, you're crazy. I'm like, am I though? Because even in the TikTok community, not many people know this. There's a lot of pro wrestling TikTok communities
Yeah,
out there,
yeah,
and I've been recently welcomed into that. And
yeah,
big shout out to everybody that's welcomed me into that because, God, like even my TikTok followers, I think we're over 200 now, shot up extremely well. Um,
yeah,
so I was just like, we're growing, dude. Like it's going to be a slow process. It's going to put in some time and work, and that's what we're willing to do. And we're going to continue on succeeding.
oh
Uh,
yeah,
our goal is Facebook goal. We're getting to 1,000, hopefully by the end of this month. Uh, YouTube, it would be nice to have 500 by the end of the year. And TikTok, I like to have 500 by the end of the year too. So,
yeah,
um, and that's the best advice I can give anybody too, trying to get their own show. Just set yourself goals. And no matter how small they are, set yourself goals.
yeah,
Big shout out for Crander Q that's been coaching me through all that.
yeah.
Um,
I call him the Paul Heyman of podcasting because
he
he
is,
always got an idea. He always just, and it's not for you to. He don't throw it at you to just like okay and run with it. He just throwing that idea out there like, hey, maybe you should do this or maybe you should do that.
or here's what I do. Why don't you try this and put your own spin on it? And that, and
Yeah.
that's and that's why Crander. I know we make fun of each other, and he says he hates me,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
but
Yeah.
he loves me. He secretly loves me. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But now I got to come on here again to break the tie.
Most
I,
definitely, most definitely. So we about to get into a couple of wrestling topics. We got 5 good ones that I looked up and I thought would be good for this episode. So start with the first one. So of course, you heard on Monday. On Monday, WWE announced that Raw is going to 2 hours
Mm-hmm.
from October until maybe like the end of December.
Right.
What do you think about that?
I think I prefer. This is just me personally. I think I would prefer 2 hours versus three. If you want my honest opinion, and here's why. It could just be me growing up, from I'm going to show my age here from watching the Monday Night Wars and going forward. Uh, I think 2 hours is more than enough. I think three was kind of stretching it to begin with. It's like,
Mhm.
well, okay, are we going to have more wrestling or are we going to have more entertainment?
Yeah,
Here lately, we've been getting a lot more wrestling
right.
uh, because we're in the Paul Levesque era. But I think now it's going to be a challenge, especially for Raw. I think they're keeping SmackDown 3 hours, right? Or
You
are they
know
going to
what?
go?
SmackDown is still going to be 2 hours for now. I've
Okay.
been hearing little rumors that they might go 3 hours.
Okay. Okay. I heard that too. I was like, well, why would you have one, two, and the other one, three? But 2 hours, I think, is plenty. You can easily get good six matches out there, maybe seven if you're lucky,
Mhm.
and put some little, entertainment spots there. And again, this could just be me growing up during the Attitude and Ruthless Aggression era, dare I say the PG era, but that's the format I'm used to, and I think Paul Levesque realizes that format works. There's still an audience for that format, and I've always believed there was no such thing as too much wrestling. But here lately, I mean, we got AEW, we got WWE. People are paying attention more to the independent scene. Uh, dear goodness, I wish Ring of Honor will hurry up and get a freaking TV deal. You know how much that irks me and you both.
Yeah, I told you they, and I've been saying this for the longest. Brand split, AEW, Ring of Honor.
You
That
gonna
is,
have your own Raw and SmackDown right there. Boom.
yep.
Uh, but yeah, man, like there's a lot of wrestling out there. So I think them moving to 2 hours is not going to hurt them at all. I think it's better for them. That's just my personal opinion. What do you think?
You know what? It's gonna be real, real funny because it's gonna be different because Raw hasn't been 2 hours probably since like the early 2000s. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe like the mid 2000s.
I think early 2010s is when they started
Okay.
the three. I want to say. I think it was like 2012, 2013, something like that.
Okay.
I could be wrong. So anybody watching this, if you want to fact check me, go ahead. Because on the last history video, I said Dustin Rhodes was Dusty's cousin and not his son. So thank you for those who called me out on that. Uh, we all make mistakes, so there you go. But I think it was around that era. It could have been late 2000s too. I could be wrong, uh, but it's somewhere around that time. It's been more than 10 years. I know.
Yeah. So I think it's gonna be funny them going off at 10 o'clock because I'm so used it's been so long they've been on for 3 hours. So it's just like I'm kind of used to it.
So are they going to go?
Um
Are they going to go 8 to 10 instead of 9 to 11 like they
I
used
think
to?
it's gonna be 8 to 10 from what I've been hearing.
Now, if they want to hit target audiences, I mean, that's actually not a bad time schedule.
No, you talking about nine to 11 or
Well,
eight to
eight.
ten?
Well, no, 8 to 10. I think 8 to 10 is perfect.
Yeah, yeah,
If I was going to run a wrestling show on Monday or any weekday, just to draw audiences in, 8 to 10 would be perfect.
yeah, yeah. And um I don't think it'll be an adjustment. And I know they're only doing it for a couple of months. From what I've read, that it was USA's decision for them to go to 2 hours, not WWE's. But when they do go to Netflix, they will be 3 hours again. And honestly, when they go to Netflix, they could be, hey, they might even be 3.5 hours because they gonna
Right.
have that freedom. You know what I'm saying? They ain't gonna have to worry about another show coming on or anything like that. And I don't know, this thing is gonna be interesting with them going to Netflix and how like Netflix they subscriptions about to just
Yeah,
it's about to skyrocket.
it's interesting. I agree with you. It is very interesting because what time constraints do they really have with streaming services? going live? What's the time restraints? What's the limitations? Like the whole language and stuff, I know they're going to get away with more
Yeah,
now. Uh, but you're right. Like I never did think about that. Like TV time or in this case, streaming time. What do we got? Do we got 2 hours? Do we got 3.5? Do we got three? Or do
yeah,
we just go until it's the end of the show? So
yeah,
that's actually something to think about. I never did sit and think about that, Mike.
yeah. And then you also got to think about too when all the content goes to Netflix as well.
Oh,
All the pay-per-views are gonna be on Netflix. Like Netflix is about to get that cheese. They about to get mad subscriptions. They about to. It's about to be crazy. Just like when
dare I
WWE
say,
make this move.
d- dare I say, money, money. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
so,
Sorry,
so
Drive Time is secretly one of my favorite tag teams. Okay.
hey, they were a good tag team. They definitely deserve their props.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, dude, they're going to be. I think Netflix is like, okay, we can have wrestling. There's a demographic for that because they have a few things wrestling related. I mean, they've had Glow, Gorgeous
Yeah,
Ladies of Wrestling, that little TV series,
yeah.
and it did pretty well. Um, they got the God that Mr. McMahon documentary, which I don't know if that's one of your topics you want to discuss since it's coming up here pretty soon, but
Oh no, not on this. No.
okay, okay. I was going to say that's coming up, and I'm very surprised at what they're going to be talking about in the trailer. So that's going to be extremely interesting when that hits.
yeah,
Um, so I mean, they're testing the waters. My question is this: what are they going to do with the documentaries that was Peacock exclusive, like the Angle, the Cody documentary? I think there was a Flair one too, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Even
What are they going to do
because
with that?
wasn't the Bray Wyatt documentary, wasn't
Yep,
that a
Bray
Peacock
Wyatt.
exclusive?
Yep, that's another one, Bray Wyatt. Which honestly, that's probably one of the best. All those documentaries were freaking excellent.
Yeah,
And I think with the Netflix team, especially with what they do, I don't think they're going to have a problem at all having rolling those documentaries out like they have been with Peacock.
nah.
I
Hey,
I,
cause
I honestly think that's what saved them with Peacock for a while is those documentaries.
yeah, yeah. And I just wish the WWE network had more like you got the classic pay-per-views and classic shows that you could watch. But I wish that they would have utilized the network to start another brand. You know what I'm saying? Like I know people always say some people it's mixed emotions about them bringing WCW back. I don't think I would want to see them bring back ECW if they had the chance, just on the strength of just the hardcore wrestling. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry, I agree with you actually. I'm an ECW fan. You know that, and I think ECW. The first WWE CW freaking no, that ruined that for me. Now, if you want to go, you got a theory like I do with The Rock and WCW. That could easily be done. Especially a lot of people are speculating since he was the one behind, not only Tales from the Territory with Vice, but he's also behind the one behind Who Killed WCW.
Oh, okay, yeah. Hey, I actually watched that. That was good.
I bought it. I bought it on Voodoo. Or no, Fandango. That's what Voodoo's called, right? Fandango. Is that who bought Voodoo?
I
The
think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I bought both of them. I got Tales from the Territory and Who Killed WCW. So you're
Okay.
welcome, Dwayne Johnson. And Vice. But you got to think he did those. He loves classic wrestling. I mean, he literally grew up during the golden era of professional wrestling, became a mega star in entertainment and wrestling.
Mhm.
So, who better to be like, you know what? The heck with you. I'm starting WCW. If you're not letting me get my way, I am part of this board. We own the rights. I'm taking this company, kind of like what he did with the XFL. I'm
Mhm.
taking this. I'm making my own brand. Who's coming with me? And if he is smart, because Eric Bischoff mentioned this, because you have Braun Breaker, you have a, probably a lot of up and coming wrestlers. I mean, Dominic Mysterio for crying out loud. If you want to
Yeah.
go by like the legacy, Ray's still in it. There's other legacy. There's a lot of those. Arn Anderson's back. Have Arn be one of the writers or bookers or agents.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
pretty sure if you restart WCW, you can get those. You can get Dean Malenko if he's healthy enough from AEW. If he wants to leave,
yeah,
get him back there. And there's a lot of people, not only that WWE, but Dwayne Johnson knows personally that he could do that if he wanted to.
yeah,
But but if I was going to have anybody as if he was going to recreate WCW, I'd have Braun Breaker as my world champion. Not only
yeah,
because of his dad, but Braun Breaker's a bad some gun, dude.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
and
definitely agree.
and when NXT went to that 2.0 bull crap, which everybody kind of hated, uh, people still loved watching him as their champion. So that
Yeah.
just speaks a lot about Braun Breaker. I think if you're going to recreate WCW, that should be the guy at the forefront right there for you.
If I was to recreate WCW, I would recreate it around 4 people:
Okay.
Braun Breaker, Dominic Mysterio,
Hmm.
Cody Rhodes,
Hmm.
and
Oh,
Charlotte Flair.
I forgot about those. Yeah, because there's 4 legacies right there.
Yeah. I,
Dang.
I, I would create it around those 4, make them the top stars or whatever. Charlotte come right in, be the women's champion.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Cody could be the WCW champion, get a nice little run.
you know what?
Braun could get a run.
Here's the thing. Then, would you, if you have Cody, because then I would have Braun as my WCW champion. If you had Cody, would you turn Cody heel?
Probably, yeah. Because I think the Mr. President smiling and kissing
Kissing
babies
the
and stuff,
ring and everything.
eventually it's going to get old and people going to start booing them.
I mean,
So
look.
I think eventually when like Roman comes back and he's not in the mix but kind of in the mix, I think that's when they should turn Cody heel.
Yeah, and people's like, can Cody be heel? Look at his Ring of Honor run and come back to us. Look at that Ring of Honor run when he was first part of Bullet Club. He was coming out. Yeah, and here's where MJF stole the Dynamite ring. He had the Ring of Honor champion. That ring he used to come out with in Ring of Honor when he was champion.
Uh-huh.
And dude, he was. I called him King Cody at the time because that's what he reminded me of.
Yeah.
He reminded me of. To me, I'm an old school wrestling guy. He kind of remind me a little bit of Eddie Gilbert in a way, just the way
Okay.
he carried himself, and that's a good thing because I think Eddie Gilbert's one of the most overlooked heels in professional wrestling. If you want to be a cocky, flamboyant, style like Ric Flairish heel, like you want to show some flair, dare I say, no pun intended. Uh, if you don't want to study Ric Flair, I would highly suggest studying Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert.
Sweet, sweet. Now speaking of the old school, WWE announced a little while ago that they're gonna have shows on NBC.
Hmm.
And the show that they bringing back to NBC is a show that I remember as a kid, and I'm pretty sure you remember, Saturday Night's Main Event.
Yep.
What do you think about them bringing back Saturday Night's Main Event?
Do it right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
my biggest thing. Don't turn it into what they had. What was the main event on the WB network? Now the CW.
yeah. I think so.
They
Yeah,
had it on there for a while.
yeah,
Uh, if you're going to do that, actually turn it into what Saturday Night's main event used to. You know
man.
what? Here's what I would do if you want to bring back Saturday Night's main event. Um, Piper was one of those people that kind of mainstayed Saturday Night's main event with Piper's Pit.
Yeah,
Uh, if you're going to do that, hell, I'd put Grayson Waller there. Have the Grayson Waller effect on there each time. Have him like his own side studio setup,
yeah. Like how they used to do back in the
like
day.
how they
Yeah,
used to do back in the
yeah,
day. Don't put him in the ring, put him here, and then you know have the Grayson Waller because his setup's already like a talk show. He's got his
yeah,
own freaking desk and everything. So
yeah,
why not just give him one of those set stages like Piper's Pit and the flower shop and the barber shop? I think stuff like that, Mike, could get over so freaking easy these days.
yeah,
Some of that
yeah,
old school stuff, they were onto something, especially with the primetime TV being, as I'll say, like an infant. Like they were testing the waters with that, and them
Yeah,
having their own talk shows and stuff like that. Come on, or shit, give Pat McAfee time if he ever gets time.
yeah,
But he's too busy doing college football, especially around this time of year.
yeah,
So
yeah.
if I was going to have anybody, I'd give it to Grayson Waller.
And you can always throw the Miz in there. You know what
Well,
I'm
yeah,
saying
I
with
forgot the Miz
Miz
has his.
TV, and you can have the KO show. You know.
Yeah, I don't think Kevin Owens needs the KO show though.
Nah, but it's it's entertaining. You know what I'm saying? Because especially like depending on what storyline is going on, and then he always put his 2 cents in it or whatever.
Right. Well, the reason I say Grayson Waller is I know he's been like the tag champion and all that,
Yeah,
and has
yeah.
had a pretty good run so far. I still consider him an up and comer.
Oh yeah,
And
oh
if
yeah,
you want him to get over, it's either as a heel or a baby face, and you're going to have, well, we're going to bring back Saturday Night's main event. Hey, we need kind of, a face for that. Put Grayson Waller effect on there. Give him anywhere from 15, maybe 10, 15 minutes, if that. Get him a guest. I mean, or shit, just have him either turn him baby or turn him, keep him heel, and have him and Miz TV go at it, kind of like the Adrian Adonis and Piper type deal.
yeah,
Have either Miz destroy the Grayson Waller effect set, or if Miz is starting to wind down his career, have Grayson Waller destroy the Miz TV set.
yeah. Hey, that sounds like a good idea. But I don't think people really know like Saturday night's main event was like the Monday Night Raw of the 80s. You know
Oh
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
goodness
A
heck.
lot of historic stuff happened on that show, like the birth of the mega powers, the end of the mega powers. I remember when Andre the Giant had beat Hulk Hogan,
For the
and then
WWE.
he forfeited the belt to $1 Million Man. That was actually like a Friday show that they did. It was like a special prime time show that they
Yeah,
did. Um,
but it's
a
still
lot of
technically Saturday night's main events.
yeah, 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 yeah. That show was classic, and the one thing I remember about Saturday night's main event, because I would always try to stay up late to watch it, and I would fall asleep. But my dad would always tape them for me, and he would just like every time it would come on, he would just buy a couple VCR tapes and just tape them. And I think he still got those tapes to this day. They probably don't work now, but
So for the kids that is like, what the heck is Mike D talking about? Back in the day, when there was this thing, it's like a DVD player, or sorry, it's like an Xbox. There you go, or a PlayStation 5. You would put it and leave it on record, and then you would put a blank tape in, and while the blank tape is recording, it records whatever you're watching on TV at that time.
yeah.
So there you
Hey
go.
man, we didn't came a long way from. I'm like now we DVR and stuff now.
Oh god, I don't even think we're DVRing it. Crap, we can DVR from our phones apparently.
Right, right. So our third question. So of course we've been seeing this new version of the Bloodline. They've been wreaking havoc all over WWE, and I don't know if you've seen recently. They yesterday they were on NXT and they interfered in the tag team match.
Mhm.
Um, Last week on SmackDown, Cody Rhodes issued a challenge to Jacob Fatu. I want to ask you this: could or is, however you want to put it, could Jacob Fatu outshine Solo Sikoa?
Yes, that's easily said than done. It's no disrespect to Solo, but and I know they've been trying to build him up. I Jacob's more believable than Solo.
Yeah,
If you want my honest opinion, and again, this is no disrespect to Solo Sikoa. He's
yeah,
an excellent wrestler. He has grown in his mic skills and character wise. But if you want me to believe in a ruthless leader, look at Jacob Fatu. Uh,
right,
Okay, let's look at Jacob Fatu's past for one. Contra unit. He
okay,
wasn't the leader, but he was one of the main people. And
okay,
look how they ran through MLW. A lot of people were like, I never was introduced to MLW until the Contra unit, and because they were basically kind of like, how can I say this? A mixture between the NWO and a mixture between Nexus, but more
Oh,
ruthless.
okay.
And I think if they're smart, if for some reason they're like, Solo's not really working out, Jacob, we're going to make you the tribal chief, and right there, if you want ruthlessness, I know they're trying it with Solo, but if you want more, especially going to Netflix, you need to put Jacob in that role.
Cause I've been hearing a lot. Cause I'm not really up on MLW. I read some of the articles and stuff. Um, I know some pro wrestlers that are wrestling in like WWE and AEW. They they came from MLW, so that's kind of how I'm up on MLW. But just real quick, just let me know like some superstars that came from MLW.
Mm-hmm. Uh, I'm trying to think. I want to say Cody wrestled there during his independent scene.
Okay,
Uh, this is, I think more people from AEW that were from MLW went there. I
okay.
know MJF
I was
was
just
a
about to ask
big
you. I was just
stable
about to
there.
say that. Yeah.
Zilla Fatu, I think that's Umaga's son that tagged with Jacob. He
Okay.
wrestled there. Um, trying to think who else was there because I'm trying to think. That's all I can remember off the top of my head right now.
Was Darby Allen or Swerve? Were
Yes,
okay.
both of them were on there.
Okay.
And which Swerve, I watched Swerve in Knoxville, dude. I remember when he was down there with oh, what's the name of that company? Next Gen Wrestling down there in Knoxville. I think that's what it's
Okay.
called. He was down there and won their title, and I knew right then. I was like, God, this guy's got a future. This guy's got a future in the business.
Sweet.
Uh, and I didn't know he was what was his name in um, Lucha Underground? Was it Killshot or something like that?
I think so. I'm not sure, but I
I didn't know
think
that
it's
was
something like that.
something like that. Which he still pays homages to in his gear, uh, but I didn't know that was him until my friend was like, "Yeah, that dude, that's him from Lucha." I was like, "Oh, okay, never mind. He's already on TV in a way."
Sweet. But
But yeah,
yeah, I definitely I see it coming. I think Jacob Fatu is going to end up being a bigger star than Solo. And I think that was one of the reasons why they were trying to like not rush Solo to SmackDown the way they did Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. Because they wanted to build Solo more as the top guy on the bloodline, and
right.
they already knew just from like you said, Jacob Fatu's his
Oh.
experience in MLW that he was gonna come right in and be the man.
When he appeared, he got a bigger pop than the Tongas did.
Yeah, and I was actually at the SmackDown when Tama Tonga debuted on SmackDown. That was
Yeah,
in Detroit, Little
yeah,
Caesars Arena.
yeah. And you know what? That was a big deal because nobody would figure, hey, Tom and Tonga for Bullet Club's in here.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is pretty cool. Now we got Tongaloa, and when Jacob appeared, people was like, "Okay, nope, there's the tribal chief right there. There's the true that man is." And to be honest with you, he was. People think he's big. That's before he dropped the freaking weight. He used to be a lot bigger and that agile. Like it was impressive. So if you go, I'll send you some stuff. If you go back and watch some of his older stuff, he was
Okay,
as agile, if not more, when he was more of a bigger dude. He was kind of chunky, but God, but he worked on himself, and that's pretty impressive. So that just shows you, to me, his dedication to okay, I'm here at the next level. I got to present myself at the next level, and
yeah,
I think Jacob, out of anybody, especially Solo in this new bloodline, Jacob Fatu is definitely uh, WWE or World Heavyweight Championship material.
yeah.
No,
I agree
sorry,
too.
sorry, Solo. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah, I agree too. I think the most interesting thing for me, because I've read that the War Games match for Survivor Series this year is going to be the new bloodline against the OG bloodline. So for me, it's going to be interesting to see how the OG bloodline comes together. You know what I'm saying? Because I think Jimmy is a matter of time before Jimmy comes back.
Right.
But how are you going to get Jay back in line? You know what I'm saying? And
Well,
especially with all his solo success that he's got going on right now, is he gonna want to put that to the side to come back to the bloodline? And then who's gonna be that fourth member? Is Sammy gonna come back into the bloodline? You know what I'm saying? Or are they gonna bring in a family member? So
if if they're smart, it would be nice to see Sammy, but I think Sammy's in the world title picture. I think Sammy, to be honest with you, has surpassed that. And that's a good thing. I know a lot of
yeah,
people loved him in the bloodline. I loved Sammy Uso. He was feeling oozy. So
right.
so I think that I think that right there is a little too late for Sammy.
Okay.
He don't need it. I think if you're going to go with um, the Usos and Roman, then I think that would be a perfect time to bring in either. Actually, that would be a perfect time to bring in Zilla Fatu or Zilla. I don't know. I don't know if his last name's Fatu. So if I said that incorrectly, I'm sorry. But I think if you bring in Umaga's son,
Mm-hmm.
knowing like to fans that study professional wrestling, not only mainstream but independent, know that him and Jacob have a past. Oh, dude, that place will erupt. I'm telling you right now, if you thought, with the Tongas and with Jacob appearing, it was deafening. If you have Zilla and Jacob facing off against each other, especially in that war game setting, have Zilla or Jacob be the last ones, and then just get face to face, and then just
Yeah,
go at it.
yeah.
Oh, dude, you talk about a pop. You talk about a pop, and it's nothing against Roman, but
Yeah.
gosh, you talk about a pop.
Hey, but you know what? That's probably something Roman want, because I think him and Paul Heyman have been kind of like in control of the whole bloodline storyline too.
Yeah, and I appreciate Roman because he could be all over the place. Like he
Yeah,
could be all over as the OTC, uh, but he's been kind of taking a back seat a lot.
yeah.
I know he recently lost his dad and his uncle that he was very close to, but other than that, he's been taken back a lot. Like he's taken a back seat, and that just shows, I think, how smart Roman is to the business. He
Oh yeah,
knows, like, if I come
yeah,
out there now, what's this going to mean on this specific time when it's supposed to mean something?
yeah.
And that's smart. That's being smart in professional wrestling.
Oh yeah, yeah. And of course, you know what I'm saying. When you align yourself with Paul Heyman, you get nothing but knowledge in your ear.
Oh
And
yeah,
then your cousin is The Rock. You know what I'm saying? Who pretty much he owned the XFL. He's what, board of directors on TKO.
yeah. Another theory. I just thought of this. You would put Rock with the original Bloodline because he technically was. What I would do if they want to turn Rock fully heel, I would have him turn on Roman and the Usos during that match and have Solo pin Roman.
Mm, mm.
You talk about heat. God, you talk about heat. Not only for Dwayne Johnson or The Rock, but for Solo. I think
Yeah,
that would help elevate Solo if they still want him to be this Roman Reign esque, leader. To
yeah,
me, again, I'm probably going to get a lot of hate in the comments, but to me, I'm seeing it a little bit, but not where I think Solo needs to be, if that makes sense.
yeah, yeah,
I think if they swapped roles with Jacob, oh, Jacob would have already surpassed him by now.
yeah, yeah. I
But
agree.
Jacob works good as, I call it, the Bloodline Enforcers because that's all that team's built on.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
Bloodline Enforcers featuring Tonga. I'm sorry, Tongaloa, but brother, you need to go back to training for a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, well, you know what? Hey, this bloodline story got so many twists and turns, and hey, who knows what's gonna happen with Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu.
It's still the hottest thing in wrestling. I think one of the hottest things in wrestling.
Yeah, definitely. So, real quick, we're gonna switch over to AEW. So they had their all out pay-per-view,
Hmm.
and it was pretty controversial. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
had the cage match with Swerve and Hangman Page. People they was hitting each other with staples and getting dropped on cinder blocks and putting syringes in each other's mouths and stuff like that. But that was the main event. But the match before that, the Brian Danielson and Jack Perry match, the ending of that match, when
Ah,
the Blackpool Combat Club turned on Brian Danielson and then John Moxley put a plastic bag over his head. Everyone in the crowd was chanting, "This is murder." Real quick, what do you think of them turning on? What do you think of them turning on Brian Danielson?
the turn on Brian Danielson was going to happen. I mean, I've seen that. How it was executed, eh, okay. As a fan, I'm like, oh my god. But as someone from a wrestler standpoint, I'm like, uh, mm, I don't know. I get you want to push the envelope, and it can work with Moxley's persona, with what
Yeah,
they're going with.
yeah,
But personally, I think it was just a tad bit too far. They could have executed something a little bit better. Um, but then again, they don't want to go all out. Now, the thing I love the most about that whole thing was Yuta. Yuta just sounding like, "Oh, come on, dude, no, this is
yeah,
not how we're supposed to be." Like that
yeah,
right there, I was like, "Oh, Yuta's." I'm seeing a sign of Yuta that I think has been missing. Okay, all right, there's a baby face in the making right there. Yuta, hands down. Not I'm not taking away Yuta's flowers because he was the Ring of Honor Pure Champion for a long time,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I think did he win another title aside from that?
Um,
I'm not too savvy on AEW as much, and I'm sorry,
did
I
he
should
win a
be.
tag? I don't think he was a tag champion. I
I,
think he was just a pure champion. You
okay,
know, a
but
Ring of
you know
Honor.
what? He brought the pure. He kind of brought that the pure title essence back, like
Yeah,
what
yeah,
it meant, uh, and that I solely appreciate him for. But I think it's time for him to elevate into the next level, and I just hope Tony Khan lays off the Colombian Bam Bam. You know that's my favorite saying with Tony Khan. Lay off the Colombian Bam Bam and let's do this right. Come on, Tony. Uh, I'm sorry, Tony Khan, but you seem just a tad bit excited every time I see you, especially at the press conferences.
yeah, yeah,
Oh man, but I don't. I think I kind of agree with what some fans are saying. It's like I'm not hating on AEW, but what if a kid sees that? Even though kids are not primarily their demographic,
yeah.
uh, but neither was the Attitude Era. But I still watched it. So, what if a kid sees that and they're like, "Oh, well, I could put somebody's head in a bag. That's cool."
You're right. You're right.
So, and a lot of people are probably going to go in the comments, "Oh, well, kids shouldn't be watching it." Again, I grew up in the Attitude Era and I watched it when I was 6. So that's probably what's wrong
Oh.
with me. But there you go. There you go.
Hey, I think I was a junior or a senior in high school during the Attitude Era. Yes, I was an old man, so hey, that was a good time in wrestling, though.
Oh yeah.
Um, my opinion on the whole, I was surprised by it. You know what I'm saying? I thought that whatever Moxley and Nina Shafir had going on, I thought that they was just gonna leave the Blackpool Combat Club alone. You know what I'm saying? And when I saw the video, Antonio Castagnoli hitting him with the uppercut, and Brian Danielson just sitting there like, what? Like, and then Moxley put the paper bag, the plastic bag over his head. I was just like, okay. I think that was more graphic than when Darby had went through jumped off the ladder and went through that thin plate of glass. I
See,
The paper, the plastic bag was more graphic than that.
I agree with you because a lot of people are like, "Oh my god, he went through real glass." Yeah, that happens in wrestling, and I love. You're probably going to ask about Swerve and the needle. You believe it or not, that happens in deathmatch wrestling. That to me, I'm like, well, that's nothing new. I don't know why people's frigging out over it. But the plastic bag thing, I don't know. That's
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
pushing it too far.
that,
And
that was a little too much.
if you want my honest opinion about the turn, um, I personally think they're going with AEW's version of the NWO.
That's what it seemed like. That's what it seemed like. And then I've been reading little stuff. I've been hearing that Shane might play a little role in this little group too.
And it would be perfect to have Shane as the Eric Bischoff.
Yeah, yeah. Cause I remember when Moxley told Tony Schiavone, "This is not your company anymore." So I'm like, "Uh-oh, what does that mean?" But that's gonna be interesting too, because how is that gonna play out with the Young Bucks playing the role as the EVPs? You know what I'm saying? Are they
I
gonna?
You want my honest opinion about them? Get rid of them.
Oh, you must not be a Young Bucks fan.
Oh no, I am. I am a Young Buck. That's the
Okay,
shocking part. I like the Young Bucks. I want to like the Young Bucks, but I want them to take a back seat and actually be EVPs. If you want to run a, here's the, I'm probably going to harp too much on this, but if you're going to run a company, whether it be a major wrestling company or independent wrestling company, in my opinion, this is just me. I think you kind of need to take that back seat of being kind of in that spotlight. I think
that's fair.
if you're going to run something, I can see it starting out because you want to get things ramped up, especially if you're well known.
Mm-hmm.
But after a while, you're like, okay, it's time to build such and such team up. It's time to build up this person. It's time to build up that person.
Yeah,
And let's create this storyline for this. That way we can have something aside from title stories. Let's do this. Let's do that. I think that right there, that's what they need to do. I think if they can get together and with Tony and with a few others that's savvy to the business, even though a lot of people are saying they're not really that savvy. Uh, Honestly, I think they're doing a decent job at it. But if they're going to do that, I think they should be like, okay, we need to take a back seat and let this play out
I
and
agree.
see how it goes.
I agree with that, and that's fair. That's kind of like what Triple H did. Triple H eventually took a step back, became the COO. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And even though he was still in storylines with the authority or whatever, he slowly but surely, you know, was still doing his thing backstage with the storylines and just helping develop the wrestlers. And he was running NXT at that time also. Like,
Right. And I know what the comments are going to say. They're going to be like, well, he was champion around that time. Well, that's because they wanted to help elevate Roman as a baby face.
yeah,
And there wasn't really that major heel. You had Triple H.
yeah.
He's probably one of the best heels in the business.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I would definitely say top 10 as far as top 10 heels of all time.
And and I'll go back to the Young Bucks. I think they're great. Like the whole EVP thing, them being the evil EVPs, it's working a little bit. But I'm to the point where I'm like, do you really need the tag titles again, guys?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like
And what are they doing with Okada? Like, I know he's the Continental Champion, but a lot of people have been kind of like on his head because he was this big star in Japan, and it's like now he finally got the AEW, and it's just kind of like,
I,
eh.
I, Okada. I kind of like what he's doing. They put the Continental title on him to establish a new championship, and
Okay,
who better than to have someone like Okada represent that championship? Even the comedy stuff they have Okada doing, like "I'm so sorry," then he says, the B word.
yeah.
I don't know what the cussing limits are on here, but so he just says
Oh,
the
it's
B.
cool.
He says the B word, and it's funny. It's great. Just
Yeah,
how his deliver on that is great.
yeah.
That just shows another personality side to Okada. Now, do I think Okada needs to be in that world title picture? Probably within the next 6 months. It would be nice. Or if you're not going to do anything with the world title picture, put him in Ring of Honor. If Ring of Honor gets a TV deal, that's one person I would move to Ring of Honor. But come on, well, what are you going to have me do? Well, Nigel McGuinness wants to have a little bit of a run. Let's have you a couple of matches with him. Which, by the way, in All In, that was my personal favorite thing ever, just to hear the Oasis song out there and just see Nigel McGuinness come out, and I was like, oh my god, oh my god! Like I jumped. I'll say it. I jumped up like a 12-year-old girl. I was like, it's Nigel! Oh my god! Because if you haven't seen his self documentary he made, it's actually it's kind of tragic.
Mm,
And I'll cover Nigel McGuinness on the history of pro wrestling. Hopefully, if not this year, starting of next year. Um,
okay.
but Nigel McGuinness, dude, imagine him going if you were going to represent Ring of Honor. Let's get rid of what's that Saturday show? Collision, right?
Yeah.
Get rid of Collision, make that Ring of Honor. Who would you have on Ring of Honor to represent Ring of Honor since Punk's out?
Um.
And Danielson's AEW champion. You don't want your AEW champion on there. Who would you have on
Definitely Briscoe.
there?
Like,
Definitely.
and the problem that I have with Mark Briscoe, I don't have a problem with him being the champion. The problem I have is he's the champion, but he's always in a 6-man tag on Dynamite. You know what I'm saying?
Well, he's not. They're not representing him as a champion. They're treating Ring of Honor as like it's the Intercontinental title. Well, not even that. Probably how the European title was represented in the early 2000s.
And honestly, the Ring of Honor Women's Championship got more prestige than the Men's Championship right now because Athena, I heard she been over there killing it.
She is killing it, and that's what kills me is because you got these talented people as your champions,
Yeah,
but what are you really doing with them?
yeah.
And it's dude, put the Von Erichs on there. Put the Von Erichs. I know they're
I would call somebody up like Wardlow, like, hey, I know you ain't been on TV in a while. You want to come to Ring of Honor and be the guy over here? You know what
yeah.
I'm saying?
How would you like to go for the television title, then eventually go for the heavyweight title? Oh, you would? Perfect. Let's go.
I would honestly put him in the heavyweight title picture right away. I think he's proved it.
I wouldn't just because where he's been off TV for so long. I
That's
I would
fair. That's
I
fair.
would give him that because where he's been away for so long, people's going to have to me have to they're going to have to get reintroduced to him. And if you want to reintroduce to him as what he should have been,
Yeah,
then I would be like, okay, you're going to feud in about 3 to 6 months. You're going to be television champion. You're going to have a run with that for about 6 to 8. After you lose that, we're going to start putting you in the world title picture, and then so on and so forth. That's what I would do. I would build Wardlow back up, or someone
yeah.
like Wardlow. Uh, I don't personally like him, but Sammy Guevara, you have him on there now. I think he's mostly been staying on Ring of Honor, hasn't he?
I think so. I think he's a tag team. Is he a champion?
Yep, he's the tag team champion with Dustin.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And you have Brian Cage on there.
yeah.
You have the Kingdom that's been featured mostly on there now. I think Bennett and them's just freaking. Uh, a, a lot of the old, you can have a legacy Ring of Honor. Now that I'm thinking about it,
Yeah.
but if you really want to hit it high, close to CM Punk, I think Nigel McGuinness, and this is probably just me being a fangirl. But you take one of the best champions, pure and heavyweight champion that they ever had. You'll have Nigel McGuinness if he's up to having one little run, just to start, kind of like what Jericho did with the AEW title. You
Yeah,
have someone
yeah,
with recognition, and him and Mark are very familiar, and it'll be a hard hitting match if he can have it.
yeah.
And
I'm always talking about that brand split that they need to have. And honestly, this would be perfect. The AEW brand, Ring of Honor. Your GM for AEW, Christopher Daniels.
oh
Your
yeah,
GM for Ring of Honor, Nigel McGuinness. You know what I'm saying? Do one big show, let them pick from the roster, you know what I'm saying? And I would exclude all the champions. All the champions would stay on whatever brand that they the champion on. But yeah, I think it needs to happen. Like they done stole everything else from WWE. They might as well do a brand split.
And honestly, I would put FTR as my tag champions.
Yeah, yeah.
If you want my honest opinion, I personally think they were heading that way with Ring of Honor,
Mm-hmm.
especially with the dog collar, with that the dog collar match with the Briscoes and FTR, and just those series of matches with them. I think that right there was kind of bringing back more prestige to the Ring of Honor titles and the Ring of Honor brand.
Yeah,
Then we lost Jay Briscoe, and I think they were like, okay, well, we got to do something else now.
yeah, yeah,
Uh, but if Jay was alive, oh god, I would have him as my champion right now too. No offense to Mark, but I
yeah.
would, if you're going to do a brand split, I would have Mark Briscoe as the Ring of Honor champion again.
Hey, that need to be a future episode. I do a mock AEW Ring of Honor draft. Like, we might have to do.
Dude, I'll do that with you. I will do
We
that
might
with
have to put something like that together. We might have to do that. You know. Real last question. So I know the PW. I don't know if you heard the PWY dropped a top 10. You know they always do the top 500 towards the end of the year. There's been a lot of controversy about this top 10 because the tribal chief is not in the top 10. Roman Reigns is not in the top 10. Neither is Jey Uso. Nobody from the Samoan dynasty. So have you heard? Have you seen the top 10?
I think Cody's one, right?
Yep. Cody is number 1. Swerve Strickland's number 2. Will
Rightfully.
Ospreay is number 3.
Rightfully.
Seth Rollins is number 4. Tetsuya Naito from New
NATO.
Japan, he's number 5.
Okay.
Damian Priest is number 6.
Okay, that's shocking.
Yeah, yeah. MJF is number 7. Moxley is number 8. Gunther is number 9.
Okay.
And Mystico is number 10 from the Mexico promotion.
I would swap out Moxley with Roman.
I was thinking Damian Priest with Roman Reigns.
Nah, Priest has got his flowers this year.
He did.
Priest has worked his butt off. I could see that I can see everything but Moxley. Because to me, I'm like, okay, what's Moxley really done?
But he was the New Japan World Heavyweight Champion when he wasn't on AEW.
That's true, but how many people remember that? Exactly. That's my thing. Exactly. And I'm not taking away from Moxley. Where they got Roman at? Do they have Roman listed anywhere?
I haven't seen the
full
I haven't
list?
seen anything where they got him ranked or whatever. I think usually they they drop the full list a couple days after they do the top 10.
Yeah, I think if they'll probably put Roman at like 11 or 13 or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, he got to be in the top 15.
Yeah, and you know what, Moxley, if he did get in Japan, maybe he deserves top 15. But to me, I think Roman swapped Roman out with Moxley. If you want my honest opinion, but then again, I can look at the other side. Roman didn't really wrestle that much. I can see that.
I can see that part-time schedule now.
I can see that argument. But then again, Brock Lesnar was in the top 10 when he was on his part-time schedule.
Yeah, and Brock Lesnar was part-time as hell. Like, Brock Lesnar will wrestle at SummerSlam and won't wrestle again until WrestleMania.
He was on that UFC schedule. That's what he was on.
Yeah, most definitely.
But, I can see both sides of that argument. To me, if I was going to place Roman, I'd swap him out with Moxley. Because in my mind, this is just me personally, in my mind, I totally forgot he was New Japan in WJP champion. I completely forgot about that. It's like, oh, he was? Oh, yeah, he was. Why is that forgettable? There's the dilemma.
Yeah, because I think it was only for a couple of months, right?
If that.
Yeah.
But I would have Danielson in the top 10 over Moxley.
Yeah, like, because Brian Danielson, I think, because he's on a part-time schedule too, or
about to be. After his title run, he will be. But he's been working his butt off too.
Yeah.
There's a few people that could be on that top 10 aside from him. I'm not taking away from Moxley. I'm just saying if I had to replace a spot, it would be him. You know what? The hell with it. If they're going by matches, where the hell is Dominic Mysterio? Because that guy had more matches,
Yeah,
had more heat than I think Cody was first, then Dominic was second.
yeah,
But Dominic, I know a lot of people are like, well, he's still young. Okay, granted, but eventually he's going to be as big as Eddie and his dad. Uh, but he should be not this top 10, but if they keep rolling with the punches, I could see Dirty Dom on the top 10 because
yeah,
he's working his butt off, dude. He's grinding.
and he's definitely putting in the work. And like you said, he got like mad heat. Like he could breathe on the mic, and they ready to boo him.
And he has a great wrestling ability too.
Yeah, yeah, he's getting better in the ring because when he first started off, like he was, I wouldn't say he was real green, but you could tell that he needed work, and he also needed to get away from his dad and have his own character, and they did it, and it worked.
Yeah, and he had, like I said, he was second in WWE to have the most matches over,
Yeah,
and Cody was over him, and Cody
yeah,
went everywhere.
yeah, Cody, he was Cody be around here like the president, man. He be having the suits on and kissing the babies and signing autographs and stuff. But you know what I'm saying? He's playing that role of a champion and he take it to heart and he's just trying to, carry on that legacy that his dad
Right.
started.
And I think that's the responsibility Dom has too, not only his dad's, but just the legacy of Lucha Libre in a major spotlight.
Yeah.
Um, and again, I'll go back to the argument: just leave him alone, let him do his thing, and just shut up and enjoy wrestling.
Hey, hey, you know how they got the "Make America Great" hats? You need to make you a hat that just say "Shut up" and just and enjoy wrestling.
I think that would be fantastic if I could find a good hat company. Might have to contact Crander Q or somebody to be like, hey, where do you go through for your hats? Oh, that one. Okay, cool. Uh,
Right.
but yeah, man, I've had a great time tonight. I needed this actually.
Yeah, and you know what? It felt good to be back. You know what I'm saying? Life happens, and you got to work and take care of family, and it felt good to be back on the camera doing another episode,
And if you
ready to
see
get
me,
back and do another one.
and if you see me off camera, it's because I have the kids was coming in the office, and I was like, okay, come on, go. So I'm sorry
Hey,
about that.
it's
But
cool.
yeah,
Hey, man,
so
it's cool. Hey, you know, it's all love, man. So, real quick before we get out of here, first off, I want to say thank you for coming.
no
No, it
problem.
was a short notice or anything. So, did you want to give any shout outs or plug
Oh,
any social media accounts?
Oh, sure. Big shout out to Crander Q. The guy, he has the Friends of the Squared Circle show me the collectibles. Even Red Ape Graphics. He's the guy that usually makes the overlays for my show. I
Hey,
think he
he's
meant,
killing it with them graphics.
yeah, he helps you with graphics sometimes too, right?
Yeah, yup.
Yeah. So Crander Q, he's all over the place. Honestly, I think we should say he's the Pod Father. I think that's taken with somebody else. But if you want, but if anybody, it should be the Podfather Crander Q,
Yeah,
instead
yeah.
of first place beard. Uh, but, big shout out to excuse me, I'm so sorry. Big shout out to the Wrestling Society Network,
Oh yeah, big shout
especially
out.
our good friend Professor Bear. You can usually catch Professor Bear on my show. He's becoming a regular on the Joe Monroe show. I love having Professor Bear on. Uh, and I'm actually I need to actually get up personally with Bear and probably do a little meet and greet, and we may do an interview with in person with Bear. That would be kind of cool to do.
Sweet.
And I'll let it slip. We kind of got an idea floating around that may happen in Knoxville. It's going to take some
Right.
time, but I think it may be with what I have in mind and what's happening in my personal life. That's going to be more of a reality here pretty soon. Uh,
Okay.
so big shout out to the Wrestling Society Network and Professor Bear. Big shout out to the Notorious ATB and Just Tan, emphasis of the tan, credible, of Till 5 Wrestling. They're a new up and coming show, so go check them out on their social media outlets, guys. They're really cool. Big shout out to Mike D here. Mike D Wrestling from the 313. I call him the king of the 313. Get your freaking merch. This is the most comfiest hoodie. Again, we're in the almost the middle of September, and I'm wearing this hoodie. This should tell you how comfortable it is. So go check him out. And if you want to support the Joe Monroe Show, you can find us at thejoemonroeshow.com. We have a lot of wrestling apparel. We have the Shut Up and Enjoy Wrestling t-shirts, the normal t-shirts, and coffee mugs. And something else we have on there, this is another shout out of my other show that I do, is the Eldridge and Monroe Horror Show. If you're a big fan of horror, go check us out there on our social media outlets. You can find the show on YouTube on the Joe Monroe Show YouTube page. But other than that, you can find the Eldridge Monroe Horror Show on our Facebook page. Whew, that was a lot. Sorry, sorry there, Mike.
Oh, it's all good. Hey, because I'm about to do the same thing. Hey, for sure, for sure. So once again, thank you, Joe. You know, shout out to everything that you got going on, and good luck with all the future stuff that you got planned. And you know, I want to give my shout outs real quick. Want to give a shout out to once again the Pod Father, Crandall Q. Want to give a shout out to Mayhem Media. Want to give a shout out to Sampin Chance from Vancouver, Canada. You know, I haven't been on their show in a minute. Got to link up with them. Man, there's a whole bunch of stuff that I'm just trying to forget. Oh, I got to give a shout out to my guys from the Holy Podcast. I met them on TikTok. I was on their show a while ago, and they are killing it too. You know, I'm not the only one repping the 313. They are also repping the 313, and they're doing good things over there on YouTube. So shout out to them. Shout out to the Sports for You podcast, John and the fellas over there, and just everybody that's just podcasting and just having fun, talking about stuff that they like, whether it's wrestling, whether it's sports. Some people might like politics or whatever, but whatever it is that you like, just keep doing it. We in an age right now where we got the tools to reach our goals. You know what I'm saying? And just what the word am I looking for? Utilize our talents
There we go.
and dreams and stuff like that. So
reach for that brass ring, pal.
Right. So yeah, so that's all I want to say. Go to YouTube, subscribe to the Wrestling from the 313 channel. Go to Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, wherever you see Wrestling from the 313. Follow, subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. For my guy Joe Monroe with the Wrestling from the 313 hoodie, always repping. I'm your boy Mike D, and I am out. I will holler at you soon. Peace.